Hi everybody, we are Group 4. We are Cynthia, Doan, and Hen. Today we are going to talk about pedagogical documentation. Let's take a look. Documentation versus display. Documentation is the evidence of children's learning, the process, and the product. This evidence is the windows into what children are actually doing, thinking, and learning. It is a way of listening to the child. We believe that documentation moves us on the other side from what I'm doing as educator, what I'm going to do to improve their learning. It's not simply the record of the observation, but the analysis of how learning is taking place. On the other hand, when it comes down to display, we believe that it only focuses on the output. It's like a one-time work, a past event of their experience. Basically, they did work on something that they love it, but doesn't represent children's learning. The value of documentation. In our opinion, documentation is really useful because as an educator, I can look back at the pictures, the work, and the board, write some notes, and after that, even little charts with some marks can be useful. During circle time, we would like to record how many times a child is involved in the activity itself, and we also we discussed that we can create electronic portfolios for each child. So when we are assessing, we know whether if the video if in the video they're showing what they're working on, they're improving, or if it's still there is a photo sample or any record or what else the child needs to do to fit into a particular standard. I can see where they are and I could plan where they need to go. Okay, so what makes documentation pedagogical? Indeed, we believe that there is a link, a connection between this process because we have to review the interpretation of the evidence. We have to question our strategies and consider possible changes or adaptations. We create activities with a purpose, not only to have an idea of the progress, but to help them construct their knowledge. That is pedagogical. Something that we want to mention is not only for teachers, but to share with the parents. When having an electronic portfolio of a blog, we can daily update the blog and parents will have an idea of what their children did that day. All right, the way we create high quality, meaningful, and useful documentation is based on our critical reflection. The educator just simply doesn't have time to step back and see what we are doing in terms of how to organize the classroom, to verify if they are learning. But if we document what is happening, the educator can look back later on and see, right? We can take a look at what are we doing, or there is a moment to say, am I doing good? What should I be doing differently? What is more, we can invite other colleagues to share their ideas and analysis and create a better outcome of our documentation. We need time and resources to reflect on our practices and to see how children respond to new activities. That's meaningful. That's purposeful.
Example of bad documentation. Example 1. As you can see the photo in the slide, the educator just provide a photo of children at work, she didn't provide any description about the observation. So when people look at that, they don't know what children are doing, and they don't know what activity is this. Moreover, the educator did not reflect to for foundation of how the learning happened, to see where the children achieve, what foundation the children have achieved. Moreover, the educator like a plan to support children for further learning and playing. The teacher did not reflect on the observation to create the plan or activity to support children to keep continue plays and to extend their interests. Example 2. This is one of my earliest attempts at documentation. As you can see, I didn't provide any photos when children at work. Moreover, the observation is short and did not offer a lot of details. In this document, I reflected on one of four foundations in how the learning happened. However, I didn't create a plan to extend children's interest and learning experience. There are some weaknesses in this documentation. First of all, lacking of detailed description about observation. The educator should provide more information about what children are doing so other people can read that and have more information about this. Moreover, she didn't reflect to for foundation of the how the learning happened to see where the children achieve the goal. And finally, she didn't create some plan for further support children interested. There are some weaknesses in this documentation. First of all, lacking of detailed description about observation. The educator should provide more information about what children are doing so other people can read that and have more information about this. Moreover, she didn't reflect to for foundation of the how the learning happened to see where the children achieve the goal. And finally, she didn't create some plan for further support children interested.
In this slide, the best document that our group chose is the maze box. Firstly, it allows us to explain the understanding about the child. Secondly, documentation captures the way children explore the world around, or the way children gain experience through this activity. By the whole with a different shape. It also allows children to have the concept of shape in their mind. The documentation of Macebeth also clearly demonstrates children learning voice and highlight children critical thinking skills because children have to find the exit for the marble ball. Finally, it helps us see clearly more language of children expression. When the child finds the way out for the marble with the control and move the maze box, that child has many ways to show that they win. In my placement, I plan this activity for children, and when they win, some children often raise their hands up and yell, "I win!" Some other children jump around and sing a certain melody, and some other children raise their hands up to high five with me. In this slide, I will talk about what we learned in our last talk. Firstly, to have a good pedagogical documentation, we should focus on a clear purpose, unless it will be a display. Furthermore, observation, interpretation, documentation, and reflection are great or foundation steps to get a meaningful pedagogical documentation. And as future early childhood educators, we consider that pedagogical documentation is not a technical process when we may become more adept in the use of documentation. It relies on attitude toward teaching and learning. In other words, it's an approach of knowing and making it possible for educators to be and know together with children, so that children's interest, thinking, and development are fostered.